Awesome people, welcome again to another social corner with our amazing Radiant hashtag Queen of Beauty. she,
Hi, thank you.
she's a doctor, she is a momsy, she is a married woman, which is an honor. And then she is something special, which you would see in our previous video, then you know what she is. And not to worry, her link will be attached as well in this video. Today we're going to be talking about social corner. Social corner. This is edition 2 for social corner. Miss Radiant, I'm not going to call you doctor. I'm going to call you Miss Radiant. Mrs. Radiant. It's Miss Radiant, Mrs. Radiant. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to call you Mrs. Radiant. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Yeah, it's Radiant. Hi. Thank you
Hello.
for having me again.
Thank you
Yeah.
for joining our social corner. This is a spicy place where yeah, we like it spicy. Without wasting much time, Mrs. Radiant, as a married woman, I'd like to get your perspective on certain things. The first one is, what do you say about your husband? God forbid. Let's use another one. What do you say if it's okay for a man to keep a married man to have his ex as his best friend?
Um,
Best
I
friend.
I don't think it's proper. I really think that it depends on what the person understands marriage to be.
Mhm.
From my own point of view, I
Mhm.
think marriage between a man and a woman should, your husband or your spouse should actually be your best pal. So you shouldn't be having someone of the opposite sex, as your best friend. That does not mean that you cannot keep very good friends of the other sex, but it just means that your deepest conversations, your thoughts, those things that really bother you, you should be able to share it with your spouse.
Mhm.
So your spouse should actually ideally be your best pal rather than your ex or whoever, you know, in the opposite sex. Yeah.
God have mercy. All right, this is the next question. That is so true because personally, I don't know how well I can handle that. Best friend? Friend is okay. Friend
Yeah.
is okay. Best friend is a thing. Then what am I to you, your neighbor? Okay. Let's let's not go into that. So maybe a man gets married. It's gonna be two ways. I'm just saying either way. So there is this couple, they are married, and before they got married, they had what is this thing called? The spinster and a bachelor's night.
Hmm.
And eventually, one of them, during this, we know the bachelor night is only for the guys, and the spinster night is only for the lady.
Yeah.
So eventually, one of them mistakenly slept with someone of the opposite gender. By slept, I mean had sex with someone from the opposite gender
How can it be mistakenly? It can't be mistakenly.
because of the excessive intake of alcohol.
uh,
That's one way of putting it.
that's
That's
the excuse. Blame it on the alcohol.
yeah, excessive intake of the alcohol. So, do you think whoever did this should tell the spouse that during our spinster or bachelor night, I actually had a sexual intercourse with someone before the wedding day? Do you think it should be said, or it should just let the case die down?
I really think it depends on the person and the relationship the person has with their spouse, and um, the understanding the person has of the spouse, because there are some spouses that are hot tempered. And if you know that your spouse is that kind of person that is, hot tempered, he can't take it. That if you know that he's, that there's some people that just can't take things like that, and could even go to the extent of, being violent to the woman or the other person. So you just keep it. There's no need trying to pour petrol on something that is already on fire. So, but ideally, really, it will transparency is should be in an ideal marriage, right? If you know you're dealing with someone that's cool-headed, if you know you're dealing with someone that loves you and has vowed that no matter what, till death do us part and stuff like that, then the best thing is actually to, divulge what has happened, because you don't want the situation where the other person now begins to blackmail you, and then you begin to keep secrecy, and the person may then decide to continue just because he's trying to take advantage of the fact that you cannot tell your spouse, and then he says, okay, if you don't tell, I'm going to say it, and if not, come and sleep with me again and stuff. You just don't want all that mess. So it's just better to actually just say it there and then, and get forgiveness. Yeah, so that's the ideal thing if you're dealing with someone that's cool-headed. But if you're not dealing with someone that's cool-headed, please just zip up.
Okay, that's true. That's a good thing to say. But someone like me, I think I would prefer to find out from him, not hearing from someone else. Because if I had to go through the stress of finding out myself, oh, we in for a third world war, bruh. Anyways, and that third world war, this is the thing I hate about fighting marriages. When you have a misunderstanding, especially in this era, I'm not saying divorce is bad. I'm not saying that. But in this era, the least misunderstanding, you're divorced already. So why did you get married then? However, anyways, let's not get there. But someone like me, what I would do is I obviously would get mad. I obviously would get pissed if I had to find out on my own. Even if he told me, I would get offended, but then we'll resolve it. We'll get through it. These things hit the rock. So usually divorce is not the case. Recently, someone shared a post on Facebook saying that she's requesting for advice. It's this female group on Facebook. So she was requesting for advice. After 2 years of dating this guy, the guy engaged her when so many suitors were coming. And with this engagement, they've been together in total for 11 years. And now that she's getting older and she's pressuring, she's telling the guy now they have to get married because this has been too long. She wants to start having kids of her own and all this. And then the guy breaks up with her after 11 years of relationship. That's what happened to her. Anyways, we're not going to go into her matter right now. I want to ask you, in your opinion, how long is too long for an engagement?
11 years is definitely too long. I mean, seriously, I don't know. I mean, what was she? Well, let me not go into her matter. I don't know, her situation and, what led her to continue with the guy. Probably the guy was always promising next year, and I don't know. But really, I think by the time someone puts the ring on your finger, you should ideally start talking about, okay, what dates do we have planned? Because you shouldn't put a ring on someone's finger if you actually don't have any plans. It's evil, really. Why should you do that if you have no plans of marrying the person, right? Yeah, proposing, you're saying, will you marry me? Meaning that you are ready for marriage. You are ready to marry this person now. So you're saying, okay, will you marry me? So ideally, as you're putting that ring, you should now be talking about, okay, so we plan that in the next 1 year, we are getting married. So can I go and start meeting your parents? You should start putting plans in place. You shouldn't just put a ring and then just relax. That's not ideal. So I feel like, women should step up. Like if someone has engaged you and a year has passed and nothing has happened in terms of progress towards marriage, at least you should see some progress that year towards marriage. The person should, visit your parents or something, but at least do an introduction. It shouldn't not. I think if you're not getting married within 2 years of that engagement, I seriously think you should reconsider that engagement. No, seriously, I think you should ask the person, please, what is happening. You can't just keep quiet. And even like I wrote on my blog, because it's on my blog about my relationship with my husband and how we met. And even there was a time in the relationship, this was before we even got engaged. This was just us, getting to know each other, being friends. I wanted to know whether he was actually interested in the relationship or not, because I don't like guys that just hang around you and they don't say anything. So that way you actually don't know whether you are actually the person's girlfriend or you're not. So you're not free to date other people because this guy is always hanging around you. And other people are seeing the guy as, okay, they are already in a relationship. Meanwhile, the guy has not said anything. So I had to tell him, one day I had to ask him, what is my status in this relationship? Like, is there a relationship? Like, what, so you really need to define, whether there's a relationship or not, so that you're not there wasting your time assuming that you're in a relationship and to the guy, you are just someone that he just likes to hang around. And that's what just happens to girls, and they say they've been in a relationship for 8 years, and then the guy, and then they wake up one morning to see invitation to the guy's wedding. And they're wondering whether that's just because it was never defined. So to the guy, you're just this person he just loves to hang around with, but to you, you're in a relationship. So it's always good to define the relationship early enough and be sure your stand. And if you see that the guy is not serious, please just go. There are many people waiting. Don't waste your time.
There are some people who are not serious, but then they fake to be serious. Very, very, very. How do you call them? Is it sheep in wolf clothing or wolf in sheep clothing?
Wolf in sheep clothing, yeah.
Whichever one. There are some people like that. Really, I'll tell you the truth. But however, there should be a time frame. 2 years, as our married doctor said, is okay. After 2 years, I think you should redefine again. Don't wait for 11 years with an engagement ring. You become not. And this is one more question, which is very interesting. So her name is Giselle. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Giselle actually went out on a date with this guy. They've been talking for a while, and this guy said he'll cook for her, and then they cook, and then they ate, and one thing led to the other. On their first dates, they had sex, and after they married, they shared their story. So some of their friends mentioned that she was cheap to have had sex with the guy on the first date. In your opinion, is it cheap or is it okay to have sex on a first date?
Well, I personally, because I come from a Christian background, I actually don't even believe in sex before marriage. So I definitely will not encourage anyone to have sex on their first date. So I think it just boils down to the values of the people involved. It just depends on what you consider, your values, your moral values. But personally, I don't encourage that.
Okay, that's true. That's very correct. And I don't want to keep you much longer. One more question, and then we can close for today. One more question. Now, there is this trending thing called open relationship. I don't know if you heard of it.
Not necessarily.
Open relationship is when people are so like a couple is in a relationship, but then they're free to date people, like to have sex with someone else.
Other people. Okay.
And yeah, this is so because they're trying to test the waters. Uh-huh. And it's really trending. I'm surprised you don't know what that is. Yeah, it's trending. What's your opinion about this open relationship in this generation?
So I think it still boils down to being selfish. Because you want to, I mean, I don't understand. Is it that the two of them agree, or one person decides that he wants to be exploring other people? Or
both of them are like, okay, we're cool with it. So they explore other people, but then they're together.
That means they're not intending to marry. They just want to pass time.
In this time, I watched one of the shows, one of the guests on Steve Harvey's show. They were actually on an open relationship. They were married for years and it wasn't working. So they decided to go on open relationship. So they date each other out, they date people outside, and then they come back home together as a married couple.
Well, yeah, there's so many things happening these days. I mean, there's so many things that are happening, and I really can't start judging people or saying you have to live your life like this. But all I'll just say is that everybody needs to know, have something that dictates their moral values. So if you decide that, okay, I'm a Christian, then you know that the Bible is your standard. If you decide that I'm not a Christian, maybe I'm a Muslim, then you know that the Quran, or if you decide that, in fact, I don't even believe in God, then probably that's where anything can go, because there is nothing really, where what actually dictates your moral values. So you should have something that kind of draws the line. If not, you're just going to be doing anything that's, anything and anything goes, so there has to be something. There has to be something that actually, helps you to avoid excesses. Yeah, so everybody needs to, have that conversation with themselves and decide that for themselves. So I can't really dictate to anybody that, you can't do this, you can't do that, because their moral code may be different from mine. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. And one more question. Sorry, this is the last one. Last one. I promise you. Last one. When you're with a person, okay, as a lady now, when you're with a guy, what can you advise? How do you know he is the one, and how do you not know? Like when you are with your husband, how did you know he was the one you want to stay forever? I do it.
Okay, first of all, I think it's first for you have to understand yourself, first of all, because before you start looking at um getting someone else into your life, you have to be complete in your own self. So you have to understand yourself and what you like and what you think are your values. I think is very, very important. So I believe that when you're out to look for a spouse, more important than the outward look or the attraction, oh, he's beautiful, he's tall, dark, handsome, rich, this, that. I think the more important thing is about the values the person uh, has. So if the values are in line with your values, of course, because that is actually what I was looking out for, someone that believes in what I believe in. Because you can actually be attracted to anybody. I can today be attracted to somebody else. I mean, physical attraction is very fickle. I can be attracted to even 2 people at the same time. I can be attracted to 10 people at the same time. That's just how it is. But then for you to be able to make a decision that this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with, you have to look at, does this person believe in the same things I believe? Can we actually work together? So you have to look at in different things like, okay, are we compatible emotionally? Does he have the same temperament? Well, he doesn't have to have the same temperament. He can have, in fact, they even say opposites attract, but it should be something that you can handle, because there's some people that just can't handle people that are loud. And so if the person is loud and all that, and that's not what, so you have to first understand yourself and what you like, what you're attracted to, and then the values the person presents. For me, for instance, I just could not cope with someone that is dishonest. If you tell lies, it's a no. So I had relationships even before my husband. I had dated some guys, and then there was one of them that he would tell me, I'm coming to your house, and I say, okay, fine. And then he'll call me and I'll ask him, where are you? And he says, I'm downstairs. And then I come downstairs and he's not there. And then he comes maybe after 20 minutes. So I'm like, so why did you lie to? I mean, for something as simple as you could have just said, I'll be 20 minutes late, or you just don't need to lie to me to say I'm already there when you're not there. Things like that. So even things as simple as that, we're already like red flags. Like, no, I can't deal with this person. If you can't tell me the truth is something as simple and small as when you'll be here, then I can't trust you in my life. So you have to know your values, really. Yeah.
There was once this story. A lady was with her boyfriend, I think a fiance, something like that, and they were in a kind of solid place of relationship. And then this guy, a message popped in on his phone, and it's like, "Hi, sweetie." And then the lady asked this guy, "Who's that?" He said, "It's his auntie." No, he said it's the woman running his business back home, wherever he is from. And then after a while, He said, it's his auntie. And then after a while again, he said it was his sister. And then after he said it was his mother's sister. When I heard of that story, I was like, oh my God, some men can lie for the universe. Which one
So
is
the
it?
thing with girls is, once you see, because a lot of people that have bad marriages and stuff, they'll say, oh, and I saw it when we were dating. I mean, there were some hints. So they
Mhm,
saw that, but they just decided to be blind to that. So I
mhm.
think, I mean, you should actually look out for those red flags. Once you see the red flag, just know that it's going to even be worse when you marry the person. So there's no point trying to say, I want to, just cope, manage. If the values don't align with yours, just don't bother.
Yes, so I can't actually manage that. Like this lie telling, especially, is something no, God forbid. It's something I cannot put up with. And there is this tendency, or there is this phrase going on now that all men must cheat. And I'm asking those men out there who don't cheat, is it that they have two heads, or don't come to me with that? I'm like a cult. Once you're in, you're in.
Mhm.
Don't tell me like all men must cheat. There are men out there who are very faithful, love.
Yeah.
They are
Mhm.
awesome. They don't have two heads. So don't hide behind the pretext of they have. I heard there was one, like, men have more sexual drive than women. I don't know about that. I have no idea with scientists. No idea.
I mean, research shows, yes, that men have more sexual drive than women. That is natural. They have testosterone more than us, but that does not give them the license
Mm.
to, sleep around.
That's true. It's this a disaster. I can't put up with that. No, God forbid. I cannot put up with that. Anyways, we have more interesting questions and we have more interesting sessions to come. So if you're watching us on Facebook, please stay tuned in. We're coming again with another edition. Once again, we have an amazing momsy, a celebrity, a doctor. Oh my God. She's like a moon. She's called Madam Radian, Miss Radian. And I think her link will be shared in the video below. So once you click on it, you can see her page on Instagram as well, and you can follow her for more information. And I am still your anchor, Blessing Dillo, broadcasting live from the Content Block TV studios. Because of time, we cannot go further with this. There are so many spicy conversations. What do you do when you catch your husband cheating with your best friend? Stay tuned in. We're coming back again with another edition. Thank you, Doctor, for joining us today. It is
Thank you.
on point. It's really an honor.
Thank you.
Adios.
Bye.